Story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Good evening and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Ebunlomo Adekunle. In our major story, PDP members of the House of Representatives say moves to impeach President Goodluck Jonathan will fail. Also in this program, hoodlums burned down family compound of former Oyo State Governor Rashid Ladoja in Ibadan. Federal government bans the use of mobile phones in the nation's prisons to forestall further security breach. Outside Nigeria, Tunisians vote in the first post-Arab Spring presidential election. And now the details. Members of the People's Democratic Party in the House of Representatives have described the ongoing move to impeach Jonathan as a joke, warning that it will be an exercise in futility. Members of the PDP caucus stated that no member of the ruling party would be a party to the process. The PDP lawmakers insist that Jonathan had not committed any impeachable offense since he became president. On Thursday, about 113 members of the House said to be members of the All Progressives Congress allegedly signed a document seeking to remove Jonathan from office as president. The sponsors of the plot were said to have wanted to table a motion for Jonathan's impeachment on Thursday, using the opportunity of the reconvening of the House, which reportedly led to the massive deployment of security forces in the National Assembly and prevention of lawmakers from gaining entry. The lawmakers representing Eastern Northeast and Eastern Southeast in the House of Representatives under the PDP, Friday Itula, describes the impeachment move against Jonathan as a journey in futility. Albert Akintoye, who is representing the Irele Okitikpupa constituency in Ondo State, Stella Dogu of Sangbama Ekeremo in Bayelsa, and Adewusi Razak from Ogun State all back Itula's assertion that the move is an exercise in futility and will fall flat on its face. The senators ruled out recording any crisis similar to the one that occurred at the House of Representatives on Thursday when it resumes plenary on Tuesday. Chairman, Senate Committee on Information, Media and Public Affairs, Enyinaya Abaribe, stated this while speaking to newsmen in Abuja. Abaribe says the Senate will discuss the invasion of the National Assembly by security operatives when it reconvenes on Tuesday. He says the Inspector General of Police has been invited to find out who gave the order for the punishment of federal lawmakers last Thursday. He also confirmed that the Senate will also have an interaction with the service chiefs on the state of affairs in the Northeast. The Ogun State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has said Governor Ibikunle Amosun's romance with former President Olusegun Obasanjo will not save him from being defeated at the poll in 2015. The state chairman of the party, Adebayo Dayo, stated that the ex-president would not work for the APC but PDP, where he is a founding father. Dayo stressed that leaders of the PDP in the state were resolving the issues in the party to gain the momentum enough to unseat the ruling APC. The state publicity secretary of the APC, Shola Lawal, however, says the relationship between the elder statesman and the governor is a family affair, positing that the PDP is myopic and backward with its definition of the relationship. The interaction between Amosun and Obasanjo had always been there, even before Amosun came into politics. The relationship is due to politics or is not due to politics or to reap political gains. He concluded that Amosun has made gains politically through his performance as governor of Ogun State. As the 2015 general elections draw near and the various political parties put their house in order with election of candidates to represent them in the elections, the PDP in Ogun State, like other parties, face a battle to pick who represents it to actualize its aim of unseating Governor Ibikunle Amosun from the government house. Olajumoke Olatunji in this report looks at the challenges facing the PDP in its quest for a suitable candidate to lead it to victory in the 2015 governorship election.
Ahead of the 2015 governorship election in Ogun State, the PDP seems to be in a flux over who will emerge as the stand-bearer to fulfill their Amosun must go agenda. The Ogun State chapter of the People's Democratic Party, which is under the control of Burji Kashamu, Benga Daniel, who recently returned to the fold, and Jibril Martins Kuye, a former Minister of Finance, has a plethora of aspirants in its fold. With less than 90 days to the general elections, Abiodun Akinlade, Gboyega Isiaka, Segun Adewale, Sharafa Ishola, Dimeji Bankole, Anthony Ojeshino, Yomi Majekodunmi, Yodun Likpede, Kayode Amusan, Remi Bakare, and Rafiu Ogunleye are the 11 contenders jostling for the party's ticket to face Governor Ibikunle Amosun.
For the 26th Assembly seat, we have 108 people who have really been screened and been passed by the national headquarters of our party. 108 jostling for 26 seats. In the House of Rep, we have 57 for the 9 House of Representative seats. 57 people are running after it. The Senate, we have 10 people running after the 3 seats in the Senate. For one governor, we have 11 people running after it. The turnout has been very massive. That's an expression of the confidence people have in the structure. People have been so they're investing very heavily on it.
The plan, according to some political observers in the state, is that the PDP is rooting for a Muslim candidate from Ogun Central with enough popularity to split the block votes from the senatorial districts where Amosun also hails from. But speculations are rife that the party may have adopted the former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Dimeji Bankole, who also hails from Ogun Central. But how true is this?
That is not true and it's not even possible. When you have 11 big men running after one seat, how do you just adopt one like that? Our doors are open, the aspirants are free to meet among themselves, romance, and they try to find a way out. If they cannot do it within themselves, the guideline of the party is there, the constitution is there, the electorate is there. We follow those rules very, very strictly. Organize a free, fair primary that will be acceptable to all of them. Primaries is scheduled for the House Assembly primary is scheduled for 29th, and then the Senate and the House of Rep for 60th, and it says a Rep for 60th, Senate for 7th, and the Governor for 10th.
However, there are indications that Burji Kashamu, who has just completed his campaign office in Ejegbu, will have a big say on who becomes the standard bearer of the PDP on the 10th of December.
There are regulations, there are rules. We have gone 50% through. For the selection of the gubernatorial flag bearer, we are supposed to have 3 delegates in each ward, which we already have now. Each of the wards has elected 3 delegates. All these 3 delegates will come together and decide who's the flag bearer. So it's about this. It's not a single person that can decide everything. So a good person can decide everything. It is about the regulations. the rules, the laws, and the things always halfway through. The delegate have been elected. 3 delegates per ward, they will come together and decide who the flag bearer is. So it's not about Kashamu or GMK or Buruji or Dimeji Bankole, it's about the people.
With the emergence of Buruji Kashamu, Benga Daniel and others at the just concluded local government congresses held the 20 councillors in the state to represent their local government at the December 6 National Convention of the party. The PDP seems gripped with fear over the resultant effect of its primaries or consensus arrangements. But overall, the people of Ogun State cannot wait to see who will eventually fly the party's ticket and battle it out to the incumbent governor come 2015 governorship election. Olajumoke Olatunji, CoreTV News, Abeokuta.
The governorship aspirants under the People's Democratic Party in the Northeast have gone through the regular screening exercise as a prerequisite to contest the primary election of the party. Our correspondent Martins Dixon witnessed the screening exercise in Bauchi and filed in this report.
This is the atmosphere at the zonal office of the People's Democratic Party in Bauchi. Governorship aspirants of the PDP are to face a committee that will determine their eligibility to seek the party's governorship ticket in their various states. One after the other, the candidates arrive. Their journey to the government house which they desire starts here. The screening exercise was conducted behind closed doors. The strict nature of the exercise permits only aspirants into the screening room. The committee gave out instructions and advised the candidates before the screening commenced.
Only God gives power. Like in each state, we have states here that have up to about 9 aspirants, 8 aspirants, 7 aspirants, but only one will be governor. And I'm sure each one of you is praying, let me be that one. And we also wish you that you should be that one. But in case it happens the other side that you are not the one, take it in good faith. We want to have a good family, a PDP family, that whoever at the end it wishes God that he should be the PDP flag bearer. The rest of us should line up behind him.
The first to be screened among contestants in the Northeast is Adamawa State Governor Bala James Ngilari. He expressed satisfaction with the conduct.
Absolutely comfortable. Absolutely comfortable. Can see me smiling now.
Earlier, Bauchi State Governor Isa Yuguda visited the venue, saying he only came to see how the exercise is going, being the chief host.
Here I just came to see, to welcome all the aspirants, and also pay my homage to leadership.
Some members of the entourage from Adamawa State were optimistic that the conduct of the screening will be fair and just.
Most of these people that have come for screening today are governors from all over the states, and they are sitting before their subjects to answer questions, to be assessed, and to be investigated. If they don't believe in it, they can come and sit before people ordinarily that they govern. You know, there's so much faith in what is happening.
Today we are fulfilled that Bala is appearing before the screening panel for he's been confirmed a candidate for governorship race in Adamawa State. This was what motivated us, what gingers us into moving to look for funds, to purchase a form for him, to plead on his conscience to accept the form and run as a candidate.
This screening exercise is expected to gauge how deep internal democratic tenets reach in Africa's largest political party, which has recently been experiencing some rancor among party members. Martins Dixon, CoreTV News, Bauchi.
The Independent National Electoral Commission says it would engage the services of Nigerian Air Force, Navy and other security agencies to provide adequate security during the 2015 general elections. Austin Okoje, the Commission's president, resident electoral commissioner in Taraba, made this disclosure while addressing Batch B Corps members at NYC orientation camp in Jalingo, the state capital. Okogie says that the move is necessary given the level of insecurity in the country. Okogie advised Corps members to be patriotic with their conduct during the elections. Freeman Tumba, state coordinator of the NYSC in Taraba, while commending the role played so far by Corps members in elections, say they are the best set of Nigerians in the quest to bring credibility to the electoral process. It's the CoreTV primetime news. Still ahead, hoodlums burned down family house of former Oyo State Governor Rashid Ladoja in Ibadan. Join us again after this break for these details and more.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Professor.
My former students.
Happy birthday.
Every day, life is made better by the moments of surprise we create for others and for ourselves. Be better. Surprise someone this season and make sure to text 11 to 400 to get a surprise from MTN. MTN, everywhere you go.
Thank you for being there. It's CoreTV Primetime News, and if you're just joining us, here is a reminder of the stories that made our headlines. PDP members of the House of Representatives say moves to impeach the president will fail. Hoodlums burned down family compound of former Oyo State Governor Rashid Ladoja in Ibadan. Federal government bans the use of mobile phones in the nation's prisons to forestall further security breach. Property worth millions of naira and 2 lives were lost in Ibadan as alleged political thugs of the All Progressives Congress burnt down the family compound of a former state governor, Rashid Ladoja, in the Burn Photo area of the city. CoreTV News has this update on the violence.
With its recent experience of political violence seeming like a thing of the past over the last 3.5 years, Ibadan is again in the news for the wrong reasons, with politically motivated violence leading to the death of 3 people and also the burning down of the family compound in the former governor of Oyo State, Rashid Ladoja, who is expected to be the governorship candidate of the Accord Party in the 2015 governorship election in the state. Eyewitnesses say trouble started on Friday after violence erupted at a campaign rally of the All Progressive Congress in Okeado, with some of those allegedly involved in the violence that led to the death of a police inspector at the scene, with some of the hoodlums coming to the Burn Photo area of the city where the compound is situated, telling residents that they will deal with them. They made good the promise that led to the burning down of houses, cars, tricycles and motorcycles, and the alleged death of 2 people, to the dismay of this religious leader, BC Shitu.
This is shameful. It's wanton destruction of lives and property for no just cause. Innocent people have just houses and properties, shop looted. I can't. There's no justification for it. And how many hours after the flag off of a campaign? Because I understand that this thing started about the day before yesterday, as a result of fallout of a campaign that was supposed to have taken place around Okeado. And then in the process, maybe whatever happened at that end, people ran towards Popoyemoja towards Isaleosi, where people within the neighborhood said some of the people guiding some of the aspirants or whatever, the politicians, released gunshots at Bonfoto area. Then later we heard that one of the guys was just brandishing gun, came later today and destroying lives and property. People even claimed they saw someone with three rifles. This is madness. There's no better way to describe this thing. And I feel really ashamed that where we are talking about peace and security having taken place in Oyo State, things like this could happen without anybody, no security apparatus to even stop these people.
While the family count their losses and the former governor and his associate ruminate on what next after this needless urge of violence, it is only hoped that this does not signal a return to its Wild West days.
The Inspector General of Police, Suleiman Abba, has expressed concerns about recent reports of youth's involvement in court activities and thuggery that has left scores of people dead in some parts of the country. In a statement issued on his behalf, the IG says, as a parent, he is worried about the waste of young lives in unworthy exercise. But speaking at as the police helmsman, he wants that the full weight of the law would be applied on those described as wayward and delinquent youths bent on fomenting trouble. Jamaatul Nasrul Islam JNI has challenged the federal government to bring to a stop the incessant killings and maiming of innocent people by the dreaded Boko Haram insurgents. It also says the country's sovereignty is threatened by the so-called Islamic Caliphate declared by the insurgents in some parts of the country. In a statement signed by its Secretary General Khalid Aliyu, the group tasks the government to wake up to its fundamental responsibility of protecting lives and properties of Nigerians, especially in the northeast, where the insurgency is endemic. It added that it is worrisome and embarrassing that Nigeria's soldiers took to their heels and abandoned their weapons and only resurfaced after the insurgents have struck and left heavy casualties. The federal government has banned the use of mobile phones in all prisons nationwide by inmates and prison officials. The ban announced by the Minister of Interior, Abba Moro, also directed the Nigerian Prison Service authorities to recover all handsets from inmates within 30 days. Abba Moro, while speaking at an interactive meeting with the senior officers of the prison service, decried indecent dressing by inmates. The minister vowed to deal with the NPS management if it failed to carry out the directive, adding that it would know if the phones were not recovered from the inmates as directed. The minister also could not hide his displeasure at the failure of the prison service to protect the Cotton Karfe prison, which has been attacked twice in the last 2 years, and ordered a quick investigation. He also directed the Acting Comptroller General of the service, Aminu Sule, to investigate the allegations that one of the officers of the service helped the attackers by supplying them with arms. The police in Osun State has warned vigilante groups not to assume the fundamental functions of the police. This warning was handed down at an interactive session between the Osun State Police Command and harmonized vigilante group in the state. Our correspondent Rashid was there and filed in this report.
This interactive session between the Osun State Police Command and the Police Harmonized Vigilante Group became necessary in order to spell out the do's and don'ts of community policing. This is coming against the background of the effectiveness of the local vigilance group in the detection and prevention of crime. The police chiefs at the meeting, while acknowledging the role of the group, enjoined them not to assume the position of a prosecuting officer, but provide necessary assistance to the police in crime control and prevention.
They have been very useful as regards information sharing, and in most cases they assist the community. You know, the police cannot do everything. Where there is little or limited police presence, the vigilantes are there. But in most cases, we try to regulate their activities by posting policemen to to control their functions so as not to take laws into their hands.
The interactive session presented members of the Police Harmonized Vigilance Group the opportunity to clear up grey areas.
Some of us who are calling themselves vigilantes, they don't know their real duty. One, in terms of SSs, that some people may not take the law into their own hand. Some of our junior police officers, they are not being cooperating sincerely with them, with us. Because whenever we arrest, it's what I just tell their organ that it's happening. It used to be because at times we've been discouraged of doing our duty. When we arrest somebody, it's really when you say that, okay, it is just around when arrest you, go.
The importance of the meeting is not lost on those in attendance.
We learn a lot regarding our constitutional law. One, we are to assist the police, we are not police, to complement the effort of the Nigeria police. So we learn our duty, our function.
So because all these things they are saying to us, we have already learned about it, but they are still refresh our brain, and none of us we are decode a lot of things.
And as the nation prepares for another round of general elections early next year, the police expect the vigilance group to stay away from politics and assist the police in curbing political thuggery and violence. Rashid, CoreTV News, Oshogbo.
Judiciary workers under the aegis of Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria have again threatened to resume their nationwide strike over alleged unwillingness of state governments to implement court judgment on the funding of the nation's judiciary. The union, which suspended its strike in July, took the decision to resume the industrial action at an emergency meeting of its National Executive Council at the weekend. In a communique jointly signed by the union's president, Marwan Adamu, and its general secretary, Isaiah Adetola, the union says it chose the 1st of December to resume the strike because it decided to grant the 7 days requested by the stakeholders, who assured the union's officials of readiness to implement the court judgments. The stakeholders, who held a series of meetings with the union, asked for the 7 days from the union at the last of the meetings on the 19th of November. The Auditor General of the Federation, Samuel Ukura, says the audit bill currently being used by the country is defective and is not an effective weapon against corruption. Ukura made this known in a statement from his office issued by the head Press and Public Relations Unit, Florence Dibiaizue Eke, called on Nigerians to support the passage of the new audit bill. Nigeria is currently using the Audit Ordinance Act of 1956, and there are plans to repeal this law through the proposed Audit Bill 2014. On the importance of the new bill, Ukura in the statement said when passed into law, the bill would strengthen the powers of the Auditor General's office, detach it from the presidency, and establish the Audit Service Commission. Ukura says the nation has not been in line with developments in the world with the current audit ordinance to suit the expenditure pattern of the government. The new bill, when passed into law, would also empower the National Assembly to appoint independent auditors to audit the financial statements of OAGF. Another innovation of the bill is the power given to the AGF to audit public monies in private organizations and bodies. The Commonwealth Medical Association has called for more assistance in the fight against the Ebola virus disease in West African countries. The association noted that in spite of reports of global assistance in the fight against the scourge, little had been done by other countries, including Nigeria. Vice President of the Association for West Africa, Osao Enabulele, says members of the association had alerted West African countries and the Commonwealth to the appropriate response to the EVD scourge in the affected countries. He urged countries that pledged their support to move from the realm of rhetorics to practical realization of their promises. Enabulele, who is also a former president of the Nigerian Medical Association, said the Commonwealth doctors had advocated for support by means of facilities and manpower. It's the CoreTV Primetime News. We'll go on another break and we'll return with business, sports and other stories outside Nigeria. Don't go away.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Professor.
My former students.
Happy birthday.
Every day, life is made better by the moments of surprise we create for others and for ourselves. Be better. Surprise someone this season and make sure to text 11 to 400 to get a surprise from MTN.
MTN, everywhere you go.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes and bleeding from the eyes, ears and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
And now to business news. The federal government has expressed commitment to link all the state capital cities to the rail service in order to boost the country's economy through rail transportation. Jonathan, who was in London at the 17th Honorary International Investment Council (HIIC), said infrastructure plays a very critical role in the economy. In the next 3 years, the roads will be resurfaced across the country. These are roads linking to Port Harcourt and Bonny, the major gas exporting terminal. In the same vein, Baroness Linda Chalker and the HIIC coordinator said the council had decided to focus on moving the country's economy. She said the council had focused on the economy's various sectors since inception, but this 17th council meeting will focus on rail transportation given its critical role to the economy. The power and construction sectors will also be given attention at the HIIC. Nigeria's ministers of information, power, works and aviation are billed to make presentations on their sectors at the meeting. Others are national planning and trade and investment as well as defense. And now to sports. Eyimba FC of Aba has successfully defended the Federation's Cup by beating Dolphins FC of Port Harcourt at the Teslim Balogun Stadium, Lagos. Eyimba, who were runners-up in the Premier League, are the defending champions and again defended the cup after a hard-fought 2-1 victory over the Dolphins FC of Port Harcourt, and the victory is the first for coach Kadri Ikahana. McLaren driver Lewis Hamilton has emerged champion of the 2014 Formula One season after winning what was effectively a title decider at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, beating Nico Rosberg to the second position. And now to other stories outside Nigeria. Tunisians have voted in the country's first presidential election since the 2011 Arab Spring that triggered uprisings across the region. Over 25 candidates are in the race, but incumbent Monsef Zouki and anti-Islamist leader Beji Caid Essebsi are seen as the favorites. The poll is part of a political transition after the revolution that ousted Zain al-Abidin Ben Ali. The election is expected to deliver Tunisia's first directly elected leader since the removal of Ben Ali. If no candidate wins more than 500 of the votes, a runoff round will be held on 31st December. Security was stepped up ahead of the election and armed guards were deployed to polling stations. Essebsi from the Nida Tunis, Tunisia's Call party, is the front-runner after his party came first in the parliamentary election. But critics say Essebsi, an 87-year-old who served in the government of post-independence leader Habib Bourguiba, as well as Ben Ali, represents the past. As the deadline for the conclusion of the talks on Iran's nuclear program looms, doubts are growing at talks in Vienna that a deal will be struck before the deadline. Both the U.S. and Germany say the sides are working to close big gaps, with some suggesting that the deadline could be extended. 6 world powers want Iran to curb its nuclear program in return for the lifting of United Nations economic sanctions. Representatives of the so-called P5+1 group, Britain, China, France, Russia, the US plus Germany, are taking part in the negotiations with Iran in the Austrian capital. The talks are part of efforts aimed at breaking the deadlock over Iran's nuclear program, which Tehran has resisted for over a decade. While the talks have centered on reducing Iran's ability to enrich nuclear materials to weapons-grade level and also the lifting of snatching gradually and visits to suspicious military sites, all of which is not in agreement with the desires of Tehran. The possibility of the talks producing an agreement is in doubt, with the Iranian president under a lot of pressure from home and quotes from unnamed members of Iranian delegation revealing that Tehran is open to extending the negotiation by up to a year, though the U.S. maintains that it hopes to get a deal done by Monday as deadline. And now, to wrap up CoreTV Primetime News, we'll bring you a recap of our major stories. PDP members of the House of Representatives have said moves to impeach President Goodluck Jonathan will fail. We also reported that the family compound of former Oyo State's Governor Rashid Ladoja was burnt down in Ibadan by political thugs. And finally, the federal government has banned the use of mobile phones in the nation's prisons to forestall further security breach. Outside Nigeria, we brought you the news that Tunisians have voted in the first post-Arab Spring presidential election. And that's it on CoreTV Primetime News tonight. On behalf of the entire news crew, I am Ebuloma Adekunle, wishing you a pleasant night rest.